News Talk 1110 and 99.3 FM WBT. Keith Larson's second hour today. On the telephone with us right now. Always a treat when we are able to steal a little time from, although he's always the first to acknowledge as the outstanding economist and fighter for liberty and truth that he is. He's always the first to acknowledge, I'm not stealing his time. He's allowing us to take it of his own free will. So this is...
It's an unpaid contribution.
It's an unpaid contribution. It's I don't even know if it's in kind. It's just kind. It's kind of you to give us your time. Walter E. Williams from George Mason University and our favorite fill-in for our midday host, Rush Limbaugh. Yesterday, in fact, you were doing the Rush thing. Here on News Talk 1110 WBT. Well, Doc Williams, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me.
As always, I appreciate it. I have a main thing that I want to ask you about that may be a little bit, I don't know, economics or American history 101 for you in your background, but that's okay. I really want to ask you to roll with me on this. We've been having some conversation here the last few days and a lot of interesting calls and emails. We were talking on Monday with Dick Armey, the former House Republican leader, and he's part of Freedom Works, and he's got the book out now about the Tea Parties, and that book is called Give Me Liberty. And we were talking about liberty. And I asked him a question, and he gave me his answer. I'd like to ask you the same question, and this is, completely out of the blue to you.
Okay.
So I just want your honest, top-of-mind thought. Liberty. Without using the word freedom, would you describe it to me? What is it? What is liberty?
Well, I think that liberty is being able to make your own choices, pursue your own objectives, so long as you do not violate the property rights of others. That's the pursuit of your own objective. You're trying to get as much for yourself without violating the rights of others to do the same.
Now that's, Mark, do you have the Dick Armey little two-sentence answer? So there's Walter Williams. Here's Dick Armey.
Liberty is my ability to do for myself and my family with my own resources and resourcefulness that which I can best achieve without trespassing against the rights of another person.
That's very similar, isn't it?
It's very similar. And look, I know that both of you guys are you're steep and deep in this field and in this discussion, and you're writers and you deal in this a lot, but still, off the top of the head, throwing a question like that, I was just very interested in that response for what it is and really describing it, because we throw that word around a lot. Mm-hmm. I guess this is where part of my brain is lately, Doc, just to be honest with you. We throw around some words and terms and things a lot. It's like we throw around 4th of July, but we don't think about independence a whole lot. And this term liberty, we throw it around a lot, but I'm wondering, do we really know and do we really get what it is in the way that people got it who declared it and fought for it 250 years?
No, I don't think that we do today. I think that if the founders of our great nation could come back, they would just be utterly shocked by today's Americans. Just the whole idea that the average American, he won't use this terminology, but he'll say, but the average American believes that he has some kind of right to live at the expense of somebody else, whether it's farm subsidies, whether it's food stamps, whether it's business bailouts, whether it's education. The American people nowadays feel that they have the right to live at the expense of other people.
And that they have the right to use the power of government, whether it's elective, like legislators acting on people's behalf, or even if it's citizens' initiatives, referenda, which sometimes feel better because then we say that's democracy. But you know what? If it's a citizens' initiative, but it's still taking away someone's liberty, I think that's still a wrong use of the power of government, even if it's enacted by a Democratic majority.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And matter of fact, this is one of the reasons why the founders of our nation, they feared and had contempt for the idea of democracy. Matter of fact, in none of our founding documents do you even find the term democracy. And John Adams was the one who came out and blasted democracy the most. What they wanted is a republic, and a democracy is nothing more than really mob rule. That is, there's nothing great about majority rule. I mean, for example, how would you feel that here's Thanksgiving coming, and we have a vote on whether we should have turkey for Thanksgiving or we should have ham for Thanksgiving. And if the majority says turkey, then ham is illegal. Now, you would consider that tyranny, wouldn't you?
I would consider that bad food taste as well. Yes, I would consider that tyranny and a great infringement on my liberty.
That's absolutely right. Or if we say, well, we're going to democratically decide what kind of car you're going to buy, you would say, yeah, oh, yeah, no, well, it's none of your business what kind of car I buy. And so democracy is nothing more than mob rule.
Is it mob rule? And I know this gets messy now. This is going down into another path of another issue, and I don't even know if you go there, Walter E. Williams, on this particular issue. But from the standpoint of the discussion we're having about liberty and democracy, I have to ask you this. A lot of people are saying that California is right, or that it's okay that California take away two guys' right to get married, if that's what they want to do. Hook up in that way, that it's okay for the government to have taken away that right because it was voted on by 7 million people in a democratic referendum kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I don't think that the government should be involved in marriage in the first place. That is, it's a contract between me and some other person. I don't think the government ought to be involved with it whatsoever. Whether to say, well, two people cannot form a civil relationship or a marriage, whatever you're going to call it, or two people can. But maybe you want to rule out people marrying animals.
Well, but actually, see, I think you can, and of course, people always throw that up, and they say, well, what if a guy wants to marry an animal? But you know what? In the sense of an economic kind of discussion, or even the principles of liberty as you laid out, the animal can't really consent to that relationship, can it?
I know he can't.
I mean, you consent to me taking your time.
Yeah. In
other words, you can say that you don't have to we don't let one person commit murder, take away another person's life without authorization, right? Mm-hmm. So the law rightly protects the liberty of others. Well, an animal can't consent to a certain kind of relationship. So the law can sort of prevent that while still acting within, I think, reasonable bonds of economic theory and the theory of liberty.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But I think here's what's happening in our society, and that is that for many for decades, for ages, there are a lot of activities that have been covered by, or regulated through moral values, customs, traditions. Now, as we move away from customs and traditions, then there's a push for law to be a substitute for customs and tradition. For example, that when I was a youngster, even the lowest of low-down men would not say the kind of things in front of women that you hear routinely said today. Now, so we got rid of that kind of stricture on human behavior, and now we try to replace it with sexual harassment laws. That is, sexual harassment laws become a substitute for traditional values, and if you look at human behavior, most of human behavior is not regulated through laws, and when we have to have it regulated through laws, it shows that we're an uncivilized society. Just going to give one more example. If you invite me to your house, I won't put my feet up on your cocktail table because there's some law saying that I can't, but I do it because of values and tradition. Now, if we had to have laws that saying, well, people cannot put their feet up on the cocktail table, or people cannot curse their mother out, or people can't do this, people can't do that, then the existence of those laws would be evidence that we're moving towards an uncivilized society.
And you know what, Doc, as absurd as that might sound, the reality is, over the course of the last year or two or three, we've had plenty of swirl around here on the show when different people and different governmental bodies have proposed laws telling kids to pull their pants up.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how absurd that is, but you have a lot of people defending the idea of those laws. And I have to tell you, Walter E. Williams, I really appreciate you from your brilliant perspective on this, walking through some of this kind of blindly or unprompted today, because here's where I'm really ending up. Whether I'm talking with Otis McDonald from Chicago, the man who fought the Chicago gun ban, and so I'm talking about the Second Amendment and the rights that we have under the Second Amendment, or if it's Ted Olson and marriage in California, or if it's something about what the First Amendment really is, I'm really becoming totally convinced not a chance on the planet the Bill of Rights would fly in America if it had to be passed today.
Oh, that's absolutely right. And when Tom Sowell was saying in his book Dismantling America, and he's saying that when Americans lose the respect for the Constitution is just a piece of paper, and it will only have any force. It will only have force if Americans respect the Constitution, and most Americans do have utter contempt for the United States Constitution. I would like to think that most Americans are ignorant of it, but I believe that they have utter contempt for the United States Constitution.
Wow, ignorance would actually be better. Ignorance could be rehabilitated.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That is, if you said to the average American, let's say a senior citizen, getting Social Security or other kind of handouts, you say, well, there's no authority in the United States Constitution for that. Well, then...
Third rail of American politics right there.
That is absolutely right. And they would say, the hell with the Constitution. I want my Social Security check.
You know, people actually say that in a heartbeat on many specific issues, in effect. Walter E. Williams, George Mason University. Doc, I just always really appreciate your time. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much.